Undercover boss, insulted for giving $4 tip, returns 72 hours later with an army of cameras. $4. Jackson set the bills on the edge of the table, his hands steady, his eyes dark with something unspoken. Jenna's gaze dropped to the tip, her lips curled into a smile that never touched her eyes. "This won't even buy a sip here," she said loud enough for the neighboring table to hear. Laughter rippled from the right, sharp and knowing. A man repeated her words in a mocking tone as if savoring the taste of them. The sound slid under Jackson's skin like ice water. He nodded politely, a gesture stripped of warmth. No one nodded back. Chairs scraped, glasses clinked. The air between them was thick with the invisible weight of judgment. He turned toward the door, the low hum of the restaurant fading behind him. Outside, the evening air bit at his face, a chill sharper than the wine he just paid for. Shadows stretched long across the parking lot, each one pointing away from the building like an unspoken verdict. From his pocket, he drew a phone, his thumb hovered over a single contact. He didn't look at the screen when he spoke. 72 hours. The words were not a threat, but a promise carved in stone. In that moment, the insult was no longer a fleeting slight. It was a thread pulled from the fabric of something bigger, something rotten beneath the polished surface. 3 days. That was all it would take to turn this table's laughter into the sound of doors closing, contracts tearing, and reputations collapsing. And as the cold night settled around him, Jackson knew one thing: they would remember the man who left $4. Not for the amount, but for what it was about to cost them. The next evening, Jackson stepped through Golden Hill's glass doors, dressed in a plain button-down, a faded baseball cap pulled low, and an old leather-bound notebook tucked under his arm. Tonight, he wasn't the man who signed billion-dollar checks. He was Nick Parker, a middle-tier wine blogger with a modest following and a modest wallet. The hostess smiled on cue, her voice warm enough to pass for genuine. But her eyes flicked over him from cap to shoes. Measuring, deciding. The smile didn't change yet. Something behind it already had. "This way," she said, leading him past a row of empty tables with sweeping vineyard views guiding him instead to a small table near the door. Each time the entrance opened, a faint draft would slip across his seat. The restaurant glowed gold under low light. Bottles with impossible price tags lined the shelves. Silverware caught the light like small flashes of lightning. The air was layered with the faint perfume of aged wine, roasted meat, and money. Somewhere across the room, crystal glasses touched with a polite chime. Jackson set his notebook on the table, pen poised. Every detail mattered: the placement of a guest, the tilt of a server's head, the invisible lines that separated those deemed worthy from those merely tolerated. When Jenna appeared, she didn't yet know she was walking into a story she would never escape. For now, she was just another server with a perfectly rehearsed smile, ready to offer the finest glass on the menu. He let her speak, let her guide the evening's first steps. Each word, each glance, each choice of where to stand would go in the notebook, because here in the glow and the comfort was where the truth first began to show. Jenna approached with a smile that looked as if it had been pressed from a mold, identical to the one she'd offered the hostess, identical to the one she would give to anyone who looked like they belonged. It never reached her eyes. She introduced a Cabernet at $95 a glass. Her voice smooth and deliberate, the cadence of someone reciting a trophy list from memory. 3 international awards, she added, letting the number linger like the aftertaste of the wine itself. Jackson widened his eyes, feigning the polite surprise of someone unused to such luxury. He nodded his consent, watching the faint flash of approval cross her face. Pen to paper, he noted the instant shift, the way a high price tag seemed to soften her tone. Across the room, a man with a gold watch and a tie that likely cost more than Jackson's entire outfit received a different version of Jenna. Her shoulders angled toward him, her laugh freer, her attention constant. 2 tables away, a young couple in thrift store jackets spoke quietly over their plates. Their glasses remained empty.